Hey everyone, how's it going? So, last week I went over my horror movie collection, and I had so much fun doing that, I decided this week I'm going to go over the rest of my movies. These are all the movies I have that are not horror. Not as much as last week. We have about 3 shelves of movies to go through, so this video might not be as long as the other one. It may or may not be a good thing. But yeah, these are the rest of the movies in my collection, my non-horror movies. Before we get started, we have to bring back the Friday the 13th 3D glasses. So, oh man. Let me get these on my abnormally large head. I wore the shirt this time. I remembered. Alright, we've got our glasses. We've got our shirt. Let's get this thing started, man. Let's go through the non-horror movie collection so far. Because, as always, I will be adding to the collection. So first up, we have the Gamera collection. 11 movies starring Gamera. The giant turtle who has a rocket boosters that come out of his ass. I kid you not. One of these discs, one of these cases had a picture of it on the back, but yeah, Gamera, think of Godzilla, but if he was a turtle, and you've got Gamera, he can fly with rocket packs that shoot out of his ass, like I just said. This has 11 movies, and to this day, I've only watched one. I've had this for, I want to say I've had this for 6 or 7 years, and I've only watched one of the movies. Eventually, I'll get around to watching the rest, but Gamera, I think I bought this because it was real cheap. It was like $15, I think, but hindsight being 2020, I probably would have passed on this one because the one Gamera movie I did watch, it was so bad. It was so bad. Up next, we have the Lion King collection. The Lion King 2, and Lion King, I think in the US it was Lion King 1.5 or 1/2, but this is the European version, and it's called Lion King 3. It's the one where it's mostly Timon and Pumbaa. The Lion King is my favorite animated movie of all time, bar none. I love it. Matter of fact, I have it on VHS in the other room. So when it was on Blu-ray, I had to get it. I believe there's a 4K version, and if I'm correct, there is a 4K version. I'll have to get that too, but I love The Lion King, man. My favorite animated movie of all time. I had to get it. The second one, didn't really care for it. The third one was mostly Timon and Pumbaa, but you can see that they were, it's Timon and Pumbaa, but you see where they were during the events of the first Lion King, and you realize that they were in a lot of those scenes. It's actually pretty cool to look at. But I love The Lion King, man. Next up, we have Tim Allen, the Santa Claus collection. The Santa Claus 1, 2, and 3. Love the Santa Claus. The first one is awesome. The first one I actually have on VHS as well. Second one was great. The third one was alright. Not as good as the first two. But I'm a big fan of Tim Allen. I think he's hilarious. Home Improvement is my favorite sitcom of all time. The Santa Claus, great Christmas movie. Santa Claus 2, great Christmas movie. Had to get this. After that, we have the Superman 5-film collection. I think this is the European one. Every time I see something like this or this, I believe it's the European version. I love Superman. Superman is my favorite superhero, and so I had to get these. Superman 1 through 4 and Superman Returns, which Superman Returns was the first movie I ever ordered on pay-per-view. Once we were able to get pay-per-view, the first movie I ever got on pay-per-view was Superman Returns. And I remember the first time I watched it, I didn't care for it, but as I've watched it again a couple more times, I actually enjoy it now. So yeah, that was the first one. Funny enough, the second movie I ever ordered on pay-per-view was Land of the Dead, and that was awesome. Alright. Alright, up next we have the Terminator Anthology. It's kind of coming out the bottom here. This is Terminator 1 through 3 and Terminator Salvation. Terminator 2 is one of my favorite movies of all time. Arnold Schwarzenegger is my favorite action star of all time. This is a no-brainer. I love Terminators 1 and 2. I like Terminator 3. Terminator Salvation, I did not enjoy at all. I just really didn't. Now, I also have 2 more Terminator movies, and we'll get to those later on, but I had to have this, man. The Anthology, for 1, 2, and 3, I had to get it. After that, we have the Dark Knight Trilogy, Special Edition, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. I liked The Dark Knight. I liked Batman Begins. The Dark Knight Rises was okay. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't great. I like this trilogy overall, especially the second one, The Dark Knight, where of course Heath Ledger is the Joker. This special edition comes with these, these cards, I guess you would say, of the different villains and characters in the movies. Try not to get the glare in there. So yeah. That's what it came with. Put this here. So yeah, I enjoyed the trilogy for the most part, especially The Dark Knight. And the funny thing is, when they first announced Heath Ledger was going to play the Joker, I remember crapping on it so bad. I was like, are you kidding me? The dude that was on First Night is going to be the Joker. That's going to suck. Yeah, boy, I got that one wrong. Tell you, man, don't judge until you've seen it. Lesson learned. Up next, we have the Rocky Collection. This is, I think it's just Rocky 1 through 5, if I'm not mistaken. I have no idea. Let's find out. No, it's Rocky 1 through 5 and Rocky Balboa. Okay, excuse me. It's all of them. And now I can't get the cards back in, so we'll mess with that. I love Rocky, except for Rocky 5. Rocky 5 blew whale balls, and no one can convince me differently. But yeah, Rocky is a classic. All of them are classics except 5, so I had to get it. Let's see if I can get these cards back in here. I can't. Holy crap. Alright, let's put the cards in first. Put the disc in. There we go. Using the old noggin. Alright, we're going to go into a run of superhero movies. It's not too bad. We have the Spider-Man trilogy. This is the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy. I actually went to the movies to see these. And I don't go to the movies often. It is extremely rare that I go to the movies. I liked these. I liked the first 2. The third one was... it was what it was. Could have been better, but I enjoyed them, man. So I definitely had to get the Spider-Man trilogy. The Tobey Maguire. Up next, we have another one of my favorite movies. We have 4K of Man of Steel. Henry Cavill as Superman. I actually got to see this in the movies for free because at my job, they were giving away tickets to the employees. So what I did was, a friend of mine, he also works there, the night that it premiered, we went to the movies, we watched it, and then we left from the movie theater and went to work. So we saw the movie and went straight to work. Almost everyone on the shift was in there watching the movie, and I loved it, man. I absolutely loved it. Superman, as I said earlier, is my favorite superhero of all time. Henry Cavill is an awesome freaking Superman. This movie is so good. A lot of people crap on it, especially the end where he, killed Zod, but people have to have something to whine about these days. I loved it, man. And on 4K, had to get it. Up next, we have Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. This is another one me and a couple coworkers went to the movies to see. We actually paid for it this time. They didn't give away tickets. And I remember sitting there thinking, man, this is like a slow burn. This movie is dragging. Oh my God, it's dragging. But I will say this. Once they actually started fighting, I enjoyed the fight. Then they had the whole Martha is the safe word kind of moment, which is stupid. And then, of course, we have Wonder Woman show up at the end to help them fight Doomsday. Overall, I enjoyed it, man. It starts extremely slow, but once it gets going, it's awesome. Especially, like, the last act, like the last 35, 40 minutes. I liked it, man. And it's real cheap on 4K. It was like $5 brand new on 4K, so I had to jump on it. And up next, we have Wonder Woman. The first one. This movie was awesome. I wanted to watch it just because it was Wonder Woman. I wanted to see if it was going to be any good, and I was pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed it. Wonder Woman 84, or whatever the second one was called, that one, I hated it with a passion. The second Wonder Woman was so stupid and boring to me, it was ridiculous. The first one was awesome. I got to upgrade to the 4K this one. They have a 4K release. I got to upgrade. Up next, we have Justice League. This is the first Justice League, the one that came out in the movies. Well, it was okay. I liked it, but I remember being disappointed at the same time, if that makes any sense. I expected more of it. But I liked it enough to go ahead and buy it. And then years later, Zack Snyder cut of Justice League came out. And this one is leaps and bounds better than the one we got in the movies. This one is also extremely long. It's like 4 hours or something. I think it was 4. Was it 4 hours? I can't see with these freaking glasses on, but I want to say it was about 4 hours. But it gave so much more backstories to all the characters, especially Cyborg, who really didn't get a backstory to him in the original cut. This one was awesome, man. This one, like I said, the backstories were so much better. It had all the extra scenes. It just explained so much, and it made it make sense. So the Zack Snyder cut is definitely the one I would go for if you're wanting to watch Justice League. Up next, we have Venom. I'll be honest, when I saw the trailer for this, I was skeptical. I was thinking, I don't know how they're going to do Venom. I don't know how that's going to turn out. And to my surprise, pleasant surprise, it was awesome. I really enjoyed it, so I definitely had to pick this up. Then, of course, last year I had to get Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Now, some of you already know, but Carnage is my favorite supervillain of all time, bar none. It's no contest for me. No one will ever come close to Carnage, in my opinion. Carnage is my favorite supervillain ever. So to see him finally make a big screen debut was just awesome, man. I had to get this. And thankfully, they didn't make him too much of a pushover, too much of a Puss in Boots. The way he went out in this movie kind of sucked, though. I'm not going to lie. I was like, man, that blows. He's definitely not coming back. But it was awesome to see Carnage finally in a full movie, an actual movie, a live-action movie. It was awesome, man. I mean, I'd get it just for Carnage alone. And up next, we have my favorite Western movie of all time. Tombstone. Now, I'm not a Western guy by nature. I have to really be in the mood or see something that catches my eye to make me want to watch a Western. And I've always seen clips of Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday character in there, so I figured, what the heck, let me watch it. And folks, let me tell you something. Tombstone is awesome. This is the best Western I have ever seen. I love this movie. They need to put it on 4K. Quit messing around. But yeah, Tombstone is awesome, man. Definitely check it out. Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday. Awesome. So that is the first shelf. We have 2 more to go. So let me turn this camera off. Let me grab the second shelf, and it'll be a few seconds for you. It'll be a few minutes for me, but we'll be right back. Alright everyone, we're back. We've got shelf number 2 to go through, and we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to get rolling. Up next we have, this is another movie I really enjoy. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. The original Power Rangers. I was a big Power Ranger fan when I was a kid. I was probably a little too old for the Power Rangers, to be honest, but I was hooked, man. Matter of fact, I've still got a bunch of Power Ranger toys up in the attic. I actually went to the movies to see this. Mom took us to the movies to watch this, and the movie is cheesy as all, but I love it, man. It's such a fun movie. The soundtrack is awesome. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers theme song that they did for the movie is awesome. I actually have it on the music player over there. Was it MP3 player? Whatever you want to call it. I love this movie, man. Green Ranger was my favorite. Then he turned to the White Ranger, so of course by default he was my favorite. I loved it. We used to play Power Rangers out in the backyard. We used to fight the imaginary Putty Patrol and the monsters. The side of the house was the Putty Patrol and the monsters, so we throw our horrible looking jump kicks and karate chops at the side of the house. Because the side of the house were the forces of evil. Yeah. But we had fun though, man. We were kids. Up next we have the new Power Rangers movie, which was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. I enjoy the original Power Rangers movie a lot more than this one. I mean, the suits were... I don't like the Power Ranger suits in this movie. I thought they were just like, ugh. They try to make them symbiotic, but I don't know, man. The movie wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. I like the original better. Up next, we have another one of my favorite animated movies, Transformers the movie. Not the crap Michael Bay movies, the animated movie. This thing is badass, man. The soundtrack is friggin' awesome. Pure 80s rock. It's awesome. And I'm a big fan of Hot Rod. So, I mean, what can I say? I'm probably one of the few people in the world that likes Hot Rod. Didn't really care for him when he became Rodimus Prime because after recently going back and watching the cartoon, I didn't realize that Rodimus Prime was such a puss in boots. Liked him a whole lot more when he was just Hot Rod, like he was in this movie. Hot Rod was badass. So yeah, Transformers, if for some reason you have not seen this, please check it out. You will not be disappointed. This thing was awesome. And it's pretty hard hitting for a kids movie, man. We saw a bunch of the Transformers get killed like the first couple minutes. So I mean, they even killed off Optimus Prime. And you definitely weren't expecting that as a kid going in to watch that. Up next we have Moana. When I was a guy, I'm pretty much raised on Disney animated movies, and then it kind of sucks that they don't do the animation anymore. It's all the Pixar stuff, the CGI, this. I wish they'd kind of go back to the actual hand-drawn animated movies, but that's just me nitpicking. I love Moana. Moana was awesome to me. It was one of those ones where I kept hearing about it and hearing about it. I was like, all right, man. Excuse me, I'm burping up breakfast. I'm sorry. Oh, man. Raisin Bran. But yeah, I checked it out, and I was actually pleasantly surprised at how good it was. I may have shed a tear or two. Little known fact. To this day, whenever I watch Lion King and Mufasa dies, I cry like a baby. I'm a 40-year-old man. Cry like a baby every freaking time Mufasa dies. Moving on. We have Prancer. This is a Christmas flick. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies. I'm the only one in the entire family that watches this. Everyone else, they can't stand it. The first time I ever saw this, I was in grade school. I don't remember what grade, fourth, maybe fifth grade. And you know how teachers when they roll that TV in on the cart, you knew it was going to be a good day. It was movie day. And sure enough, the movie was Prancer, and I loved it. I'm not afraid to admit that I shed a couple tears watching this to this day. I'm a 40-year-old man. Awesome movie. Up next, we have King Arthur, the director's cut, starring Clive Owen, who has got to be one of, if not the most underrated, underappreciated actors in the world today. Clive Owen is absolutely amazing in every role that he's ever done, and King Arthur is just such a good movie. A lot of these medieval movies are just, to me, completely boring, or they try to go overboard with the torture and gore, back in the medieval days. This doesn't do that, man. This has got it all. Action. I mean, I can't say enough good things about King Arthur. If you haven't checked it out, please do. If nothing for Clive Owen's performance. Like I said, Clive Owen, one of the best actors in the world. I don't know why he doesn't get all the attention that he deserves. It's a shame. It's a damn shame. Up next we have Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes' Demolition Man. This movie it's cheesy, but it's so much fun. It's so much fun to watch. And to this day, I have not figured out the seashell thing myself. If anyone else has, let me know. I have a few ideas bouncing around, but they just know it can't be right. I have no idea what the seashell thing was. Up next, we have Congo. Michael Crichton's Congo. I will say this, I liked the movie, but I loved the book so much more. The Congo book, is so much better than the movie. I mean, the book is leaps and bounds better than the movie. Not a bad movie, but I would recommend reading the book. It's just so much better. And Michael Crichton is my favorite author. I said Arthur, good lord. If you're not familiar with Michael Crichton, he wrote Jurassic Park along with other masterpieces as well. Up next we have Jean-Claude Van Damme, Kickboxer. I mean, that's all I need to say, Kickboxer. It's a must-own. If you're an 80s child like I was, Kickboxer, man. It's Van Damme beating the holy hell out of people. I mean, that's really all I got to say, Kickboxer. Van Damme versus, what's his name, Tong Pao, I think his name is. I don't know. Up next, we have Tom Hanks and let's do that again, man. Kickboxer deserves more than that. Kickboxer is awesome. The whole journey of him training to enter this fight, this kickboxer, man, it's, oh my lord, it is awesome. He wants to avenge his brother who was crippled by Tong Pao? God lord. Okay. Tong Po, Jesus Christ, I said Tong Pao. Tong Po. Yeah, so Van Damme versus Tong Po. Awesome match. Tong Po has a classic line that one of my best friends loves to quote all the time. Mei Lin, good fuck. I'm so sorry, Kickboxer. You deserve better than that. Alright. Tom Hanks in Castaway. I like the whole setting where he was on his own on this deserted island in the middle of nowhere, because to me that would be great. I'd have no neighbors, which I hate my neighbors now, and I'll leave it at that. I would love it, man. I wouldn't want to be found. I'd want to stay on the island and live out the rest of my days in solitude. So I like that. Then we have Kevin Costner in Dances with Wolves. Excellent movie. Kind of a long one, about 3.5 hours, but it's worth it. Now, funny story about this one. The first time I ever watched this movie, I was a kid. I was living in Italy. And we went to the hotel, the Fontainebleau, and this was a fancy pants hotel. So fancy that it had its own movie theater. I kid you not, Fontainebleau. So our parents dragged me and my brother, these little kids, out to see Dances with Wolves. And as a little kid, I remember sitting there thinking, oh my god, this movie sucks. This is so boring. Kill me now. It was like torture, man. Like I said, it's a long one, about 3.5 hours. They actually had an intermission in the movie. Stopped the movie so people could go use the bathroom, get drinks and snacks or whatever. And I got excited because I thought it was finally over. Oh no, no, you're only halfway through, buddy. Sit down. Enjoy the pain. So I hated it as a kid. But when I got older, when I became an adult and I watched this, I realized just how freaking good this movie was, and I love it. It is awesome, man. It's always funny, like the things that you can't stand watching as a kid, you don't really appreciate them until you get older. Not just movies, but things like anything in general. It's always funny to me how that works out. All right, here's me. Up next we have The Crow, another one of my favorite movies. This is just badass, man. This guy comes back from the dead and gets revenge on the people who killed him and his girlfriend. It's just awesome. We all know how Brandon Lee was killed during the making of the movie, so I'm not going to get into that. But the movie itself is awesome. Soundtrack is awesome. Definitely check out The Crow. Sting paid a nice tribute to him starting in '97. Up next we have Arnold Schwarzenegger in Kindergarten Cop. I love Schwarzenegger. Anything Schwarzenegger does, anything Arnold does, I'll watch because it's Arnold. But I love Kindergarten Cop. This is another movie that I saw for the first time as a kid when I was living in Italy, and I loved it. I thought it was absolutely hilarious and badass at the same time. I just love it, man. Arnold was always, the kick-ass action star. Then he started dipping into comedy and showed that he could be hilarious at the same time. So this one was kind of a mixture of both, where he was kind of a badass but comedic at the same time. I love it. They did make a Kindergarten Cop 2 with Dolph Lundgren and Bill Bellamy. And the less said about that steamy pile of goat feces, the better. Stick with the first one. Up next, we have my second favorite Western of all time, Young Guns. Awesome movie. Awesome, awesome movie. I can't say enough good things about it. I can't remember the first time I watched it. I don't know if it was on TV or what, man, but awesome movie. There's a Young Guns 2. I do not have it in the collection, but I will be adding it. Up next we have the Lethal Weapon collection. Lethal Weapon 1, 2, 3, and 4. I love Lethal Weapon. I loved all of them. Part 3, I'm kind of 50-50 on. I love it, but at the same time, it's like this doesn't feel like Lethal Weapon, but the first two are absolutely awesome. This is my Christmas Eve tradition. Every Christmas Eve, I watch Lethal Weapon. Because Lethal Weapon 1 is a Christmas movie. It is. Yes, it is. So every Christmas Eve I watch Lethal Weapon 1, and every once in a while I'll have a marathon. But I wish they put these out on 4K because they deserve it, man. We get a lot of crap that gets put on 4K. Give Lethal Weapon a 4K release, man. Up next, another favorite of mine, Short Circuit 2. This is another movie I saw for the first time when I was living in Italy. Fred and I used to have sleepovers all the time, and this particular week we were all at his house, and his parents had rented us a movie called Short Circuit 2, and it was awesome. It was so awesome, in fact, that I had to go back and watch the first one. Johnny Five is alive. Need more input. Yeah. There you go, Johnny Five, the robot with a mind of his own. It's an awesome comedy, man. It's awesome. Up next, we have a personal favorite movie of mine, Top Gun. Now, actually, Top Gun Maverick has come out today, So eventually I will add that to the collection as well because Maverick was badass. This one is badass. The soundtrack, I actually have the soundtrack. Where is it? In the ottoman down here. I knew it was somewhere. I love Top Gun, man. I used to pretend I was Tom Cruise. When we had a swing set in the backyard, I'd swing on the swing and pretend I was in the jet. You know, I'd make my little machine gun noise like... I'd make my pretend I was shooting missiles, and I'd take the swing, and I'd swing back and forth, and then I'd swing around, twist myself around, pretend like I got shot down. And then the whole time I was doing this, I would be trying to sing Danger Zone. I did not know any of the words to Danger Zone, so it was like, it was like, it sounded like my tongue was swollen, and I didn't know the words, so I was just kind of trying to make the beat of the music. It was good times, man. I love Top Gun. I probably look like a complete doofus to the neighbors, but oh well. Up next is another favorite movie of mine, Days of Thunder. This is one of those movies from Tom Cruise I don't really hear a lot of people talking about. Days of Thunder was awesome, man. The soundtrack is badass, especially the soundtrack for the last race at Daytona 500 at the end of the movie. Man, this is another movie I saw for the first time in Italy, and I loved it. Matter of fact, when I was in the 8th grade, took a field trip to Carowinds, and they had a Days of Thunder ride. You would sit down on the seat, and you would get strapped. You would strap in, and they have this huge movie screen, and it would be like an in-car view, like you're Tom Cruise, and you're racing on the track, and the seats were on this platform that would move, and it would swerve, and you'd be driving. Oh my God, it was awesome. Days of Thunder is definitely a movie I'd recommend checking out. If you haven't seen it, check it out, man. I think you really enjoy it. It's one of those ones that not a lot of people talk about, and it's a shame because it's just so good, man. I love Days of Thunder. I used to have all the cars too, all the toy cars. I don't know what happened to them though. Up next, we have another favorite of mine. We have Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And earlier I had the Terminator Anthology, but once I saw they had T2 on 4K, I had to get it, man. Now, if they release Part 1 and Part 3 on 4K, I'll get those too. But this is one of my favorite movies. This is another movie that I saw for the first time in Italy, and I'll be honest with you, it scared me. The T-1000 scared the holy hell out of me. It even grossed me out. There was a scene where the T2, good God, the T-1000 had killed John Connor's foster parents, and he had his blade. He made a blade come out of his finger, and it was sticking in the dad's mouth. I guess he was trying to drink a carton of milk at the time, so he had his dead body. He was holding a carton of milk, and he had a spike through his mouth, and for some reason, as a kid, that completely grossed me out. And I was scared to death of the T-1000. But this movie is awesome. The Terminator 2 theme is awesome. It's just, like I said, I can't say enough good things about Terminator 2. So when I saw it was on 4K, I had to get it. Up next, we have Terminator Genisys. This one, I didn't hate it, but I wasn't overly excited about it either once I actually started watching it. I was at first because it was a Terminator movie, but then once I actually started watching it, my expectations slowly started dropping. I didn't hate it, but it was what it was. It's not one that I'll go back and watch often. Up next, we have Terminator Dark Fate. Believe it or not, I actually really enjoyed this one. People have taken hot, Hershey squirt dumps all over it, but I loved it, man. I actually really enjoyed it. I'm still burping up breakfast, good God. I actually really enjoyed this one, man. So, it's a shame they're not making any more, but, I mean, it is what it is. I liked it. Alright. Did I mess this up? Yeah, I did. I think so. Yeah, I kind of messed up the order of this one. Okay. Well, I'm having a brain fart, man. Up next, American Ninja. This is one I first saw for the first time on basic cable. No, it might have been TBS. I don't know. Was it basic cable or TV? I saw it on TV. I remember thinking it was so corny, but it was so cool at the same time. Michael Dudikoff is the American Ninja. Just he's on an army base, and God, it's been so long since I've seen it. But he's an American with the skill of the ninja. And since we had part 1, had to go ahead and get American Ninja 2. And since we had part 2, had to get American Ninja 3, which did not have Michael Dudikoff in it at all, which sucked. Since we had part 3, had to get American Ninja 4. So yeah, Michael Dudikoff is back. I like this series, man. I like American Ninja 1 through 4. There is an American Ninja 5, and I actually used to have it on DVD, that has nothing to do with the first 4, and it was so god-awful, I think I threw it away. I don't throw away movies, I find someone to give them to, but I think I actually tossed American Ninja 5 in the trash. It was that bad. Alright, and the last one for the second shelf, one of my favorite movies of all time, one of my favorite franchises of all time. We have the limited edition 25th anniversary 4K, the Jurassic Park collection. This is Jurassic Park 1 through 3 and the first Jurassic World. I absolutely love Jurassic Park, the first one especially. That was my 11th birthday present. This came out June 11th, I believe June 10th or June 11th. I want to say June 10th, 1993, the day after my 11th birthday. And this was my present. The family went to the movies to see Jurassic Park, and I fell in love with it. I was always a big dinosaur fan, so once I saw there's a movie about dinosaurs, I didn't even care what was going on. There were dinosaurs in it, man. So I wanted to see it, and I just remember sitting there absolutely blown away and amazed by what I was seeing. Like, the dinosaurs looked so real. And the fact that they were in this park, this theme park, running wild. I had never seen anything like it, and it stuck with me, man. I mean, for those who've seen my Saturday Night Horror videos, every week I go out in the garage, and it's mandatory that we have to get a shot of the Jurassic Park movie poster. I can't put into words how much I enjoy this movie and what Jurassic Park means to me. It's awesome. Jurassic Park is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I will always have fond memories of Jurassic Park, so I absolutely had to get it. Matter of fact, this was the first 4K anything I ever bought. When I bought my 4K player, this is the first thing I got. Jurassic Park 4K collection. I had to. Alright, so that is the second shelf. We have one more shelf to go through. Matter of fact, I think I've got some scragglers in the other room, some movies in the other room too, so we'll have to pull those out. I've got some DVDs over there. So, let me put these movies up, let me get the third shelf down, and we'll continue. Alright, we are back with the third and final shelf, and we did have some scragglers in the other room, so I brought those out as well. They're all DVDs, we'll do them last. So, first up, excuse me, we have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle 3-film collection. These are the first 3 original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies. First one was awesome. I actually went to the theaters to see that. The second one is my favorite, absolutely amazing. The third one just blows. So if you're going to watch the Ninja Turtle movies, the originals, God, I'm still burping up that Raisin Bran. Good Lord. What was I saying? Yeah, if you're going to watch the original Ninja Turtle movies, the first 2 are the way to go. The second one is my all-time favorite, The Secret of the Ooze. I actually have, I kid you not, the novelizations of all 3 movies in the other room. I kid you not. Up next, we have Kevin Costner in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, another awesome movie. This is another one I saw for the first time in Italy. Matter of fact, I got the VHS for my birthday when I was living in Italy. And as a kid, the Old Witch grossed me out. I don't know why. But I love this movie, man. I love it. It's such an awesome movie. And the song, Everything I Do It For You, was stuck in my head for years. I remember when the movie came out, that Everything I Do It For You, Bryan Adams song, it was always on Casey Kasem's Top 40. How many of you are old enough to remember Casey Kasem? Up next, we have The Lion King, the live action movie. I was pleasantly surprised at this. I mean, it was The Lion King, so I was going to watch it regardless. But I was surprised at actually how good it actually was. So I definitely had to add this to the collection. Awesome movie. Awesome movie. And they're actually going to make a live action movie about Mufasa, how he became king. So I'm definitely going to see that whenever it comes out. Oh man. Up next is, believe it or not, one of my favorite movies because it's so bad, it's hilariously good. Vanilla Ice. Cool as ice. Word to your mother. This movie is horribly bad. It is so bad, it's hilariously good. Oh my god, I even did a Saturday Night Horror episode on it as a joke. Vanilla Ice, in his acting debut, his motion picture debut, I actually have this movie poster in the garage. I kid you not. It just isn't hanging up yet, but it will be. Vanilla Ice, his acting is horrible. So horrible that it's genius. It is hilarious. Hilariously bad. He delivers my favorite line of all in the movie. Yo, cat, why don't you drop that zero and get with the hero? Word to your mother. I mean, damn, if that doesn't get the panties to drop, I don't know what will. We also have a love montage where they play this love music between Cat and Vanilla Ice's character. I don't even remember what his character was called. It's Vanilla Ice to me. She's trying to teach Vanilla how to ride a horse. Vanilla, in his infinite wisdom, gets on the horse backwards, and he's riding the horse sitting backwards as Love Song plays in the background, and the girl is just, losing her cool over Vanilla Ice. She's falling in love with him as he's riding the horse backwards. Hell, I'm sold. But in all seriousness, man, it's an awful movie, but it's hilarious, and I love it. Up next, we have my favorite non-horror movie of all time. I kid you not, my favorite movie, non-horror, of all time. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito in Twins. I can't put into words how much I love this movie. This is another one I saw for the first time as a kid living in Italy, and there's a love scene, kinda sorta, between Kelly Preston and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I remember my mom, God bless her, would take her hand and don't, you can't look, you can't watch. She'd cover my eyes, so I missed out on Kelly Preston in a nightgown until I go older. But yeah, this movie was funny, man. This was like Arnold's first comedy movie, and people really didn't know how he would do, and he knocked it out of the park. I love it. The movie is just so warm-hearted and light-hearted. It's just... I know this is going to sound cheesy and incredibly corny, but I get really good... I just get a good feeling when I watch this, man. It puts me in a good mood. I get a good feeling every time I watch this. If I'm having a crappy day or a crappy week, I can watch Twins and instantly feel better. The soundtrack is amazing. Pure 80s nostalgia. I just love it, man. There was a point in time where I would watch this every Friday. I would get home from work, get situated, get comfortable, and I'd watch Twins every single Friday. That was my routine. Get home from work, get comfortable, and watch Twins. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to watch this today. But I love Twins, man. This is my favorite non-horror movie of all time. I actually have the soundtrack on CD down here in the ottoman. I love this movie. I love it. I actually have the VHS in the closet as well. Up next, we have another Arnold movie, and it's one of my favorite Christmas movies, Jingle All the Way. The plot is, it's hilarious, man. It's ridiculous, but it's fun. It's one of those ridiculous movies that's really fun to watch. I just love it, man. I watch this every Christmas season. Every December, I have to watch Jingle All the Way. I'll get home from work in the morning, cook some breakfast, sit down, I'll watch Jingle All the Way. Oh, man. Excuse me, I'm sorry, y'all. I can't tell what time it is with these 3D glasses, but it's my bedtime. It's got to be like 11:30 in the morning. Up next, we have Jean-Claude Van Damme in Sudden Death. I remember watching this years and years ago and thinking it was so awesome, and then I found out that it was on Blu-ray. I had to get it. Sudden Death to me is really good. He takes his kids to a hockey game, and just so happens some terrorists are there. Vice President's there. You know what happens next. So, Sudden Death is typical Jean-Claude Van Damme action film, but it's just so much fun to watch. I love it. Up next, we have Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai. I actually really, really enjoyed this. I don't hear a lot of people talk about this one, but I loved it. I love the whole setting in feudal Japan. He starts off trying to get rid of the samurai, and he starts to learn their culture, learn their ways, and he actually becomes one of them. Great movie. The ending kind of pissed me off, though, I'm not gonna lie. Up next, we have Kevin Costner in Wyatt Earp. This is another good Western movie. Not as good as Tombstone. Not as good as Tombstone. And I read that Kevin Costner was actually supposed to be in Tombstone, but had a different idea of where the movie should have gone, and there was a disagreement, so he set off and made his own movie, which turned out to be Wyatt Earp. Now, whether or not that's true, I don't know, but I was reading that online. But I like Wyatt Earp. Ugh. Jurassic World. Fallen Kingdom. This sucked, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. The only Jurassic World movie I enjoyed was the first one, where they're at the theme park and the dinosaurs get loose. That setting is awesome. This one I did not like at all. They went back to the island for the first half of the movie, which was cool, but then the rest of the movie took place in a mansion where they were auctioning off dinosaurs. It sucked. And I hate to say that. Speaking of suck, Jurassic World Dominion, the last one that came out, and I want you to look at this case. See how it's all busted up and beat up? That's how it came to me. That's how I got it. In the mail. So yeah. The mailing envelope that was in had footprints on it. Shoe prints. So they stepped on my movie. Luckily, it still worked. I guess luckily, but the movie was horrible. Jurassic World Dominion, I was so excited about this because they were bringing back Alan Grant, Ellie Sattler, Dr. Ian Malcolm. The original cast from Jurassic Park is in here. They're going to meet up with the current cast. I was so excited about it, and then I started watching it, and I'm looking at it like, this does not feel like a Jurassic anything movie. What in the blue hell is going on? I hate to say it, but I was severely disappointed with Jurassic World Dominion, and I thought it was a really crappy way to end the franchise. But I kind of feel that way with, like I said, Jurassic World. The only Jurassic World I enjoyed was the first one, when they were in the park and the dinosaurs got loose. Now, Jurassic Park, I love the first one when they were in the park and the dinosaurs got loose. Now, Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World, I enjoyed that as well. But to me, the best settings is when they were in the theme parks. That's just my opinion. But yes, highly disappointed with Jurassic World Dominion. Man, that was... I left you the case of blue balls there. Alright. To recover from that, we have Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando. Another over-the-top action movie with an awesome soundtrack, and it's Arnold. What more needs to be said? Arnold is on a mission to rescue his daughter. Don't screw with Arnold's family. Look at that rocket launcher. Yes, sir. Commando is awesome. It's so ridiculously over the top, it's awesome. Up next, we have Edward Scissorhands. This is yet another one I saw for the first time as a child living in Italy. And, yeah. I thought Winona Ryder was cute, even as a kid. And I felt like, as a kid, I felt bad for Edward Scissorhands because, you know, he was so different and everyone bullied him. I just wanted to be his friend. As corny as that sounds. But I love this movie, man. I love it. Oh, sweet Jesus. Jean-Claude Van Damme and Street Fighter. I bought this one because it's one of those so bad it's hilariously funny videos. Or movies, I should say. I remember being excited about this because I was a big Street Fighter 2 fan. And then after watching this, I was like, what did I just see? What did I just watch? What is this steaming pile of goat feces on my screen? The only thing this has to do, the only thing in common this has to do with the game is the names of the characters. It's just so awful, but it's so funny. Up next, we have Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Running Man. There's a 4K release of this coming out, and I will be getting it. I love this movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger, again, it's Arnold. And it has one of my favorite characters, Dynamo. Big, huge, overweight dude who sings opera as he's trying to kill you. Oh, man. I'm all over the place in this video. But yeah, I love Running Man. And Maria Conchita Alonso is not bad looking, if I do say so myself. Up next, we have Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Now, when Godzilla came out in, what was it, 2014? I want to say 2014, I could be mistaken. It was a huge disappointment. To me, Godzilla, King of the Monsters made up for that because we saw Godzilla taking on all kinds of monsters. And I loved it, man. Absolutely loved it. Next up, we have Godzilla vs. Kong. I was so excited to see this, man. So excited. I was hyped up beyond belief to watch this. And I remember being disappointed. Now, don't get me wrong. When Kong and Godzilla actually do fight each other, it's awesome. But most of the movie was about humans. Most of screen time went to the humans, and their little side story, and I didn't like that, man. I wanted to see Godzilla and Kong beat the hell out of each other for 2 hours. But when they did fight, I loved it. Oh, boy. Up next, we have, hey, Bella. Hi, baby Bella. Alright, y'all, you know the deal. If the camera's shaking, Bella's down there messing around with a tripod. Yeah, I know, I got my movies in your way. You're not going to be able to get on the bed right now, pretty girl. I've got the movies stacked up, she wants to get on the bed. Alright, up next, we have Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man. Now, the first time I saw this was on TV. I think it was Channel 4 on my 13-inch Sharp TV, which, by the way, I still have in the attic. I still have it. 13-inch, my first TV. I turned it on. It was at the scene where Harley and Marlboro are on the roof of a hotel, and they jump off the roof and land in the pool because they're trying to get away from some guy shooting at them, and I just remember thinking that was so freaking cool. And I sat there and watched the rest of the movie. Years later, I found out it was on Blu-ray, and I had to get it. And this is a movie where I asked people if they've ever seen it, and they're like, Harley Davidson, the Marlboro Man, are you making that up? I am not. Alright, we've got 1 bar left on the battery. Hopefully we can finish up this shelf. And we'll do the DVDs after I charge the camera. Up next we have The Rock with Sean Connery. Nicolas Cage. I love this movie. It is awesome. People holding each other prisoner on Alcatraz. Yeah. One of the few disaster movies I really enjoy. The Day After Tomorrow. I actually went to the movies to see this, believe it or not. I was pleasantly surprised. This is awesome. A lot of disaster movies are just ridiculous. They suck. This one does not. Hello, Bella. Alright, we have Smokey and the Bandit 40th Anniversary Edition. Is this all of them, or? Nope, just the first one. Smokey and the Bandit, I loved the first 2 movies. The third one we don't talk about. The Smokey and the Bandit is awesome. It's something that could never happen in real life now, but back then it was possible. If you have not seen Smokey and the Bandit, do yourself a favor and check this out. You will not be disappointed. And Eastbound and Down, that song rocks. Alright, we're almost done with the third shelf. We might get it done before the battery dies. Up next we have Alicia Vikander. God, I'm butchering her last name. In Tomb Raider. This was the good Tomb Raider movie. This Tomb Raider movie was awesome. I've seen the Angelina Jolie ones first, and I thought they sucked. I think Angelina Jolie sucks, so yeah. Those movies were horrible. This Tomb Raider made up for that. This Tomb Raider is badass, and I hope to God, to Buddha, to whatever deity is listening, that they make a sequel, because this one was awesome. If you played the Tomb Raider reboot games, the very first one, that's pretty much what this is based on, and it's freaking awesome. I love this movie. This is also on 4K. I need to upgrade. Alright, up next, we have Jean-Claude Van Damme in Lionheart. Lionheart! But yeah, another good fighting movie from Van Damme. At the end, he fights Attila. This movie was just badass for the fights, man. I love the fights. He's fighting people. Rich folks are betting on the fights. It's awesome. At the very end, they kind of trick him to make him look like Attila can't fight, and Attila's actually a killer. So everyone puts their money on Attila. And Lionheart's manager tells him about it. Lionheart gets pissed off. Wrong bet. And beats the holy hell out of Attila. Spoiler. But Van Damme is awesome. Lionheart is awesome. Up next we have Rambo, the complete collector set at the time. This does not have the latest Rambo movie that came out. It has everyone before it. I love Rambo. Rambo 2 was my favorite, though. Rambo 1, I felt sorry for the dude because, man, I've never served, but I can kind of imagine what it's like when you come home and people look at you differently, like, especially people that don't agree with war. They want to say certain stuff to you, and then you've been at war for so long, you really don't know how to handle coming back to civilization. I mean, that's gotta be rough, man. I just felt bad for Rambo in the first one. Part 2 is my favorite, though. Definitely my favorite. Alright, this is the last one on the third shelf. The Beverly Hills Cop Collection, 1 through 3. Again, Part 2 was my favorite. It's kind of like, it's like that with collections, man. The second one is usually better. I love Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2. 3 was okay. But Eddie Murphy is hilarious as Axel Foley. Alright, that is it for the third shelf. We do have the Scraggler DVDs to look at, but my battery symbol just turned red. So we're going to charge camera, and we'll come back and we'll finish off this collection. So it'll be a few seconds for you. It might be an hour for me, but we'll be back. Alright, we've charged the camera. We're good to go. We're going to finish this video off. All we have left are a few DVDs. Of course, we had Twins. Now, this is actually a couple DVDs in a case. Of course, Twins. As I said earlier, my favorite non-horror movie. I had the DVD for years, and they finally came out with the Blu-ray release. That's why I have the Blu-ray now, but for the Blu-ray, I had the DVD. Right here we have Renaissance Man, starring Danny DeVito, which is a great movie. It really needs to be out on Blu-ray. Renaissance Man with Danny DeVito is definitely a good one. We have the original, excuse me, Day of the Dead. Another good one. Any horror movie that takes place in a mall, I'm all for it. And I know this is horror. I didn't realize I had horror mixed in here. We have the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, on DVD. As you can see earlier, I upgraded to Blu-ray. We have Smokey and the Bandit and Smokey and the Bandit Part 2. And we have the awful Smokey and the Bandit Part 3. In our last case, this is another one full of different DVDs. We have one of my favorite movies, Iron Eagle. Fortunately, I believe this came out the same year as Top Gun, so unfortunately, a lot of people didn't see this, but Iron Eagle is really good. The plot is ridiculous, but it is awesome. Then we have Iron Eagle 2, Iron Eagle 3. The first Iron Eagle 1 and 2 were the only good ones, unfortunately. 3 was bad. Iron Eagle 4 was horrible. Absolutely horrible. This doesn't have a label. This is one of those double-sided DVDs, I think. Hold on. I can't even... What does that say? Oh, okay. Ninja 2, Shadow of a Tear, starring Scott Adkins. Scott Adkins is badass. That was an awesome movie. We got another horror movie here. Wow. The Cave. If I remember correctly, The Cave is a bunch of divers who go underwater, and they come out in this cave, and there are some creatures in there that are killing them, if I'm not mistaken. This one is Cocoon. Cocoon is a really good movie. The elderly people who finds the so-called Fountain of Youth, and it turns out to be something completely different. We have the original Godzilla in black and white. And we have Mindhunters, which is a really, really good movie. Awesome movie. It's like an FBI, CIA training camp, and people are actually getting killed, and so they're trying to figure out who's doing the killing. And ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is my non-horror movie collection so far, because as always, I will be adding to it. But that was fun going through all those movies and talking about them a little bit. I had fun doing that. I think the next video I'll do will be my TV series on DVD and Blu-ray that I have. I have a few TV series, a few cartoon series on Blu-ray, on DVD, so we'll go through those next. But that'll be for next time. I'm still burping up breakfast. I'm so sorry, y'all. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I definitely enjoyed doing it. This was fun, man. So with that being said, I hope y'all have an awesome day, and I'll see you on the next video, which will probably be the TV series. Y'all take care.